I was kicked to the curb, now they want to hand my house to him. Hey Reddit. I've been staring at this blank text box for days, trying to figure out how to start. My name's Mark, I'm 35, married 10 years to Emily, and for most of that time I thought we had the kind of relationship people envy. 2 kids under 6, a cozy home in the suburbs, matching cars in the driveway. But beneath that picture-perfect facade, things were unraveling and I sensed it before she even knew I knew. It began small. Little shifts in routine. Emily started leaving for work meetings late at night, coming home at odd hours smelling of coffee and something else, something unfamiliar. At first, I chalked it up to stress. She'd finesse it when I asked, big project deadline, just needed to clear my head. I'd nod, drop it, tuck the kids into bed solo. Then came the phone. I'd hear it buzz under a pillow or tucked in a couch cushion. I'd glance over, a message preview reading, can't wait to see you again, or, tonight's our night, right? No name. No context. When I gently asked, she'd shrug and flip the screen away. Our dinner conversations felt rehearsed. I'd mention something mundane, hey, saw your mom today. She'd reply, distracted, I'd catch her humming under her breath in the shower, like she was replaying someone else's words. The intimacy drained away, those stolen kisses in the hallway, the sleepy, I love you, at midnight they became rare. One Sunday afternoon, the kids were at Grandma's. We had the house to ourselves. I was washing dishes while Emily scrolled on her phone, perched on the counter. An email notification popped up, consultation confirmed with, law office name. My grip tightened on the sponge. A lawyer. For what? My pulse raced. I didn't confront her then, not yet. Instead, I spent the next week watching closely. I noted how her work laptop glowed late into the night. I caught small transfers from our joint account into another bank I'd never heard of. I overheard her whispering plans into speakerphone, by next month, it'll be done. I felt like a detective in my own life, piecing together clues while wearing a smile at PTA meetings. I tucked screenshots and receipts into a hidden folder, all while she continued her charade, I'm overwhelmed, we need some space. And somewhere in the back of my mind, I knew that space wasn't distance, it was a countdown. I realized I was watching the prelude to a divorce ambush, and I refused to be blindsided. So I made a decision that night, after tucking my daughter into bed and hearing my son's soft breathing next door, I was going to protect my family and myself. Quietly. No dramatic accusations, just preparation. By the time I realized Emily was gearing up to serve papers, I'd quietly assembled a playbook. I wasn't about to let 10 years of marriage, and our kids' future, be jeopardized by a snap decision. Here's how I laid my groundwork, step by step. I reached out to a divorce attorney I discreetly met through a coworker's referral. No big, I think my wife is cheating on me, announcement, just, I need to understand my rights in case things go sideways. He walked me through local laws on asset division and custody, then helped me draft a list of documentation I needed. That very evening, I opened a new checking account solely in my name, nothing flashy, just a secure nook for my portion of our savings. Over a series of small, unnoticeable transfers, I moved about 40% of our joint emergency fund there. Legally, it was mine anyway, emotionally, it was a lifeline. I created a private spreadsheet, yes, Excel feels so unromantic, to chronicle every odd behavior. Dates she logged, working late, but wasn't in the office. Screenshots of text previews, can't stop thinking of you. Bank statements showing that mysterious new account. Photos of new jewelry I never got to admire. Transcripts of overheard calls where she talked about wrapping this up. Each entry had a timestamp and a short note, my future self would thank me in court. We'd collected a few heirloom watches and my grandfather's vintage guitar over the years. One weekend, I told Emily I had a surprise for the kids, a treasure hunt that would take them to Grandma's. While they were gone, I boxed up the heirlooms and stashed them at my brother's place, safe from any oversights. Our 2 children mean everything to me. I kept a daily log of my parenting contributions, school drop-offs, doctor's visits, extracurricular pickups. I also asked a close friend, someone I trust implicitly, to write a character reference about my devotion as a dad. I installed a secure password manager on our shared devices and moved my personal emails and cloud storage onto a private account. It felt shady, but in a world of ambushed divorces, trust but verify became my mantra. All of this happened under a veneer of normalcy. I still woke Emily with coffee, kissed her goodbye in the morning, and hugged our kids every night. No dramatic confrontations, no suspicion-driven interrogations. If she detected anything, she didn't betray it. Emotionally, it was exhausting, like running a marathon in a suit and tie. But every transfer, every screenshot, every notarized document was a stitch in the safety net I was weaving. Because when a divorce notice finally landed on our kitchen counter, I intended to be ready. It was a Tuesday afternoon when I walked in the door and saw it, a crisp manila envelope sitting squarely on the counter, no note, no explanation. My heart pounded as I slid it open. Inside were the divorce petition and a motion for temporary orders. She wanted exclusive use of our family home, full access to the joint accounts, even primary custody of the kids, effective immediately. Emily's plan was clear: take control of everything before I could mount a defense. But she'd underestimated how prepared I was. I called my lawyer on the spot. Within 24 hours, we had our counterpetition filed. While her documents painted me as absent and irresponsible, ours told the opposite story. Timeline of her secrecy, the screenshots of her late-night texts, the mysterious bank transfers, her lawyer consultations months prior. Evidence of my involvement, logs of bedtime routines I handled alone, photos of every family dinner I cooked, my meticulously dated spreadsheet of joint expenses she'd paid without complaint. Proof of her financial maneuvering, bank statements showing her quiet withdrawal of funds, the paperwork for my newly secured account. A week later, we faced off in front of a family court judge for the temporary orders hearing. Emily arrived confident, dressed immaculately, her lawyer ready with a prepared statement about emotional neglect and the need for stability for our children. She attempted to frame me as unwilling to co-parent and financially unreliable. Then it was our turn. My lawyer stood and calmly walked the court through the evidence. He passed the judge the folder of texts where Emily herself admitted planning this divorce blitz. He showed the transfers into my separate account, legally mine but a clear sign she feared I'd have the upper hand. He even read aloud her own Google search history: how to free spouse's assets, best strategy for alimony. When the judge asked Emily if she had discussed any of this with me before filing, her confident facade cracked. She hesitated, then mumbled she didn't feel safe bringing it up. The judge raised an eyebrow and asked for specifics. None came. By the end of the hearing, the judge denied her request for exclusive occupancy of the home, refused to grant her unfettered access to joint accounts, placing a freeze on withdrawals until further order, ordered both of us to joint custody and scheduled a full hearing in 60 days. Emily sat there, jaw clenched, the weight of failure settling on her shoulders. Her plan to blindside me had spectacularly backfired. She'd walked into court believing she had the upper hand, only to emerge with fewer rights than before. As we left the courtroom, I caught her eye. She looked defeated. And I knew this wasn't over. But for the first time, I felt in control. The Monday after the hearing, Emily sent me a text at 7 a.m. "Mark, can we talk? I realize now how I handled everything was unfair. I'm sorry. Can we please work this out?" Her timing was almost laughable. She messaged me just as I was dropping our son off at elementary school. I stared at the screen, my thumb hovering over reply, and I thought back to the weeks of secrecy, the cold shoulders, the legal ambush. By then, I had already secured a new apartment nearby. I'd packed up my office supplies, our kids' favorite toys, and even her wedding gift, an antique vase she loved, in a careful wrapping with my brother's help. I wasn't running, I was moving on. I took a deep breath and typed back. "Emily, I appreciate you reaching out. I've spent the past few weeks reflecting on everything, and I don't think reconciliation is possible right now. I've arranged a stable home for the kids and me. We'll continue co-parenting as ordered. I wish you well." I hit send before I could second-guess myself. Within minutes, my phone rang. It was Emily. I let it go to voicemail. In a shaky voice, she left a tearful message about family, and mistakes, and wanting our old life back. I pressed delete. That afternoon, at our first joint custody handoff, I saw the pain in her eyes as the kids ran to me. She stood on the porch, watching us drive away, shoulders slumped. I felt a pang of sadness, for the marriage we once had, for the life that had unraveled. But I also felt relief. Relief that I protected myself and our children from further chaos. Over the following months, Emily reached out sporadically, texts about school events, requests to adjust schedules, even an email suggesting family therapy. I responded with concise confirmations but never let the door fully open. I'd learned that, sorry, doesn't erase years of planning and betrayal. Meanwhile, life for me and the kids settled into a new normal. Weekends at the park, bedtime stories without tension, dinner without shadowy glances. I focused on building trust and consistency, things I hadn't realized we'd lost until they were gone. In the end, Emily's attempt to patch things up was too little, too late. I'd seen her plan coming, and I'd built my own plan to protect what mattered most. Sometimes the hardest part of love is knowing when to let go, and having the courage to see a broken promise through to its rightful conclusion. A year later, I've refinanced the house into my name, started a garden in the backyard the kids helped plant, and even connected with an old friend who reminded me how to laugh. Emily and I communicate only about school pickups and holidays. There's no bitterness anymore, just a clear boundary that keeps us both honest and our children safe.